currently in school, and I hail from Jalgaon, Maharashtra. And I did go to Singapore for a year or so to study, but I came back because of pandemic. It was supposed to be a 4-year thing, but yeah. So I'm back here doing studying CBSE and some JE. But yeah, I mean, I've explored a lot of things. My interests have changed a lot. That makes JE much less relevant to this conversation.
So, you mentioned that you'd gone to Singapore for a 4-year program, right? So,
Yes.
can you just brief me about that or explain what it was?
So actually, there is this scholarship program in ninth grade for ninth grade students, and it's for India. They select like 4 or 5 students every year from ninth grade, with yeah, and they go to Singapore under Ministry of Singapore's Ministry of Education, Singapore scholarship. So it's a full scholarship where we study 4 years in a Singaporean high school, which is mostly like IGCSE or IB code. So
What is
I
like the procedure to apply for this scholarship, or how does that happen?
actually I think the scholarship has not taken place like after our cohort because there was COVID.
Mhm.
I was like to 2019, yeah. So
Yes.
2019 I was in ninth grade. I went to Singapore, and then COVID hit, and 2020 I was back home. But actually, yeah, so the scholarship, if it ever opens again, it's a very good opportunity for you to just go because all my other friends who went are still there, and they're doing pretty well. They're very happy, they're doing pretty well apart from the downsides of living away from home. It's all good. Yeah, that's what every international student faces. So it's not really a big deal. Um, Apart from that, I guess what I learned from Singapore is the most important part of my experience with Singapore. Um, I learned that actually students can act to do bigger things in the world, and which we don't really recognize that we should be.
So I was just wondering, that you probably applied for that Singaporean scholarship, and you
Yeah.
would have built your profile for it. You would have done some stuff. So how did you go about that, and what made you think that made you stand out?
It was all the Olympiads and all the competitions that I used to give. So I had this love for Olympiads, I would say. Like the I and my brother both were almost the same. He's 2 years younger than me,
Mhm.
but we always treated exams like festivals. So because when it's an exam day, we don't study that day. We have this pact. If I have an exam today, I'm not going to study at least 2 hours before that or the whole day. So that was our festival day, and we used to give like 30 exams a year. So 30 days of festivals.
So if you could just give me a little introduction about how you thought of coming up with this and what actually pushed you to do something like this.
Um, this is an interesting story actually. I was already charged up that okay, if I'm going back to India, I'm doing something. I'm not. I will not like just leave a good opportunity to come back to India or something like that. I will upgrade and do something better than what I was doing. So
Yeah.
So all charged up, I came to India, and the first problem that I found here was that my friends who are daughters and sons of my housemate, and they're my age, and we've been like very good friends. We just hang out together or something like that because pandemic, no one went to other places. So um, I saw they were completely disconnected from education and didn't even think about it. So I was like, okay, I do online classes all day. What do you do all day? And they were like, we go to work here and there, and then we play a bit, and then we just go back home and do. So it was a little difficult for me to grab those children off the cricket match, ongoing cricket match, and like go study now. We both were teaching those two kids, Pooja and Rahul, brother and sister, them in our backyard. So they were like, okay, you're teaching us, it's all good. but we have more friends who are having the same problem. We're facing the same problem. Can you let them join? I was like, okay, sure, why not? There were 20 people in our backyard. It's pretty easy to incentivize children with chocolates. And yeah, so every class they came in, I gave them a chocolate. So that's how I incentivized them at first.
So, I'm just curious here, Kalash, that you mentioned that from two, the classroom turned to 20 students, right? So, was there an inherent feeling that the children did actually wanted to come to a space that provided them with better learning mechanisms, or was it just the incentive that you mentioned?
I think it was a balance between both of these. But around 50% students still came in if the incentive was removed, but others did not. So, which means there could be like this enthusiasm of knowing, okay, what's going on? Where are my friends going? And that's why they came in the first day, and then next day they were like, okay, I don't want to stay. I don't want to go back there, even if there's an incentive. In urban areas, maybe students around slums or just like my area, like this is a pretty developed area, but there are people who need it, like they are living in here, right? So people, watchmen, they live in here, they live in the same apartment. So I guess people like these, and the big part, rural India.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, my school was in the rural part, and that's why I knew like a bunch of people around there, and I asked a couple of principals in the schools around, what was their retention rate after pandemic. It seemed like 40% students will be dropping out without even continuing their like primary education, without even completing it. Like they were all from construction workers, children, or watchmen's children, or everyone. So I mean, it was easier for me to reach out to them even the later stages, because whenever I went around, it's just like, uncle, वो उसको भेज देना आज. Area, it was much more easier for me to communicate with them and being in the same friend circle or group, whatever you call them.
So, I wanted to understand that you had that experience in Singapore for a year, right? And did you try and incorporate any of those teaching methods with Pooja and Rahul and the other students that you were teaching?
So as I found Singaporean education system very interesting compared to what I was learning in Jalgaon. Yeah, there are a couple of things. First is group bonding activities. So we don't really focus on peer interaction that much in India, but actually, which is very important in my opinion, and that's why we started having these small group sessions and arranging people in groups to have them interact with each other or teach each other, learn from each other. And the problem here was the groups were like 4 to 14. This was age of, yeah, it was
Yeah.
pretty diverse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't control what age people come to me, right?
Right.
So it's like, yeah, so this diverse group actually made those conversations much better. And the second important point was they value what you want to learn like later in life. So, for example, Pooja had no interest in math, while Rahul had a lot of interest in math. While Pooja excelled in arts, so she always drew rangolis, mehndis, and she was very passionate about this. She has always been begging her mother to buy her a sewing machine, and so yeah, so her group of interest, her field of interest aligns differently than, for example, Rahul's pool of interests. So it was kind of easier for me to provide the material that she needed, that Rahul needed, because I knew where to fetch it from.
Like, I want to understand that now that you're in 12th grade, right? You will be uh, heading to college and you will be, moving away probably from your city, Jalgaon, right? So, what future does Fly have then? Like, how does that work out?
Okay, so a mini trial has been done about this. After I came back, I was like 1 year in Jalgaon. That's when I started all of this, and like 3 months I went to Kota.
Hmm.
So that was when I shifted everything to online. So not the teaching part, but yeah, I had some teachers to work in my place. What I did was I managed things.
All right. Yes.
I created resources, gave it to teachers, or gave them some training, or had conversations and know their insights about it, and some awareness on social media and everything.
So
So
these teachers, like, were they your friends? Were they people you knew, or how did you find these teachers?
right now, we have like 30 plus volunteers. I would say I knew around 3 or 4 of them before I started.
Mhm.
But now it's like a completely new set of people that I don't even know. I didn't even know exist. And they just come up with the same passion and join me in this. And we've been working together and all. So it's really good. I mean, there's you can't just limit your movement to your group or something like that.
Because ideally, for organizations started by young people like you,
Yeah.
self-sustainability is like one of the most important pillars. Something like Fly, which has like a really noble cause attached to it.
When I already have a group of people to work with and to work on, I guess changing my focus from like teaching them maths to teaching them skills to teaching
Skills,
them
yes.
something else is a much better option than shutting it down completely.
It was really nice talking to you, Kalash. I'll stay in touch. And I'll stay in touch. All right. Thank you so much for your time. Looking forward to this. Man. Thank you.